Well, I appreciate you for doing this, Rick. Thank you, obviously, for sitting down. So I guess first of all, just walk me through a little bit of your background. I know a lot of people here locally probably know a little bit about you, but just for the purpose of the story, just kind of walk me through, how long you've been in Macon and maybe why you applied for Survivor the first time.
All right. I moved to Macon right after I graduated from Virginia Tech in 2006. Had never even been to Macon before I accepted a job at a local TV station where I worked for the next 13 years of my life as a morning anchor. So a lot of people knew me in that role before I went on Survivor the first time, season 38, The Edge of Extinction. And then since I got back from doing Survivor, it's like the pandemic hit, and my wife is in healthcare, so she was very necessary working at Carlisle Place here in town. And so I stayed home with the kids. I had 2 kids under 5 during the COVID pandemic, so we were doing like online Zoom kindergarten. It was insane for 2 years, and then I had to get a job again, and this position of Director of Communications was open at Middle Georgia State University. So 4 years ago, I got this job, and it's been awesome because MGA is just a gem here in Middle Georgia. And I've been a Survivor fan since episode 1. Like, I remember walking into my living room in the middle of episode 1, and there was this older dude trying to start a fire with like either his glasses or a periscope. And I was like, to my sister Katie and my dad, like, what are you watching? And sit down on the couch and never missed an episode since. So I've been trying to get on the show since I was in college. It was like the worst audition tape of all time on a VHS.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it was like Jackass, basically. I'm like jumping in the snow. I'm like, that'll be great. Never heard back. And I applied like 3 or 4 other times and never heard back. And then finally, just like one day on a whim, when I was on the anchor desk next to my co-anchor, like, hey, Ashley, I'm doing my Survivor video. And that's the video I heard back from. Like 1 take, 2 minutes. And and the rest, I guess, is kind of history.
So, yeah, I mean, you've had obviously a lot of names attached to you. A lot of people call you, one of the craziest players of all time. Why do you think they brought you back for season 50?
I think for season 50, they were bringing back people that they knew were going to have fun out there and were going to just leave it all out on the sand. And those are 2 things I was kind of known from the first time I played on season 38. It's just like, I wasn't afraid to do crazy stuff. I wasn't afraid to put on a show at Tribal Council. And even when everyone was out to get me and I was starving and suffering, it's like I was laughing about it because it's Survivor. It's like, this is the dream. This is what I wanted. So I think for 50, they wanted it to be a celebration, and they wanted players that were going to come out and play really hard but have fun doing it. And that's your dude.
Yeah, I mean, was there any difference in the way that Edge of Extinction felt versus Survivor 50? I mean, I know you can't get into too many details about 50, but was there a big difference in the seasons?
There really is. In terms of my mindset going into it, on 38, it was just like, I want to win. This is for me. I'm going out there to do it for myself. And for 50, it was really almost because so many former players wanted to be on 50 and didn't get to go on, but I did get that spot. It's like, oh my gosh, I've got to really give the fans what they want to an extent. Like, it's not just for me. It's about the whole show. It's about what Survivor is, the cultural impact. Like, I felt a lot of responsibility to just go out there and play fearlessly and have the most fun I could in honor of all those players that weren't given the chance to play on 50.
Yeah, it's almost like a little bit of pressure almost, right? To perform like that. Well, what can you kind of walk me through? I don't know if this is off limits or not, but can you walk me through what that call was like when they called you about Survivor 50?
Yeah, so for Survivor 50, when Survivor was trying to decide who was going to be on the cast, they talked to a lot of people. 24 of us ended up on the cast, but they talked to way more people than that. And I remember having the Zoom call with everybody, like all the producers are there, Jeff is there, And I just crushed it, man. It was so good. And I knew I was going out. I got a champagne bottle pop emoji from the casting director.
Really?
And then like a week later, they called and said, will you be an alternate? We know this isn't what you wanted to hear. And I was devastated.
Yeah.
But on Mother's Day, I got another text that was like, hey, we want to Zoom with you tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. And I get on and Jeff Probst pops up and he says, Devens, you know how much we wanted you out there. You know how we thought you would have done great, and that's why we want you to be on 50. And he was just messing with me. And I was like, yes. So I was so excited. And in a way, I think that was a real gift to think I was an alternate, because all of a sudden the pressure I was feeling kind of dissipated. It's like, I'm not supposed to be here at all. Let's just go out there and cause some havoc and have fun. Yeah.
Well, that's crazy. I never knew that. So you mentioned Probst. How has that relationship grown? I mean, since the moment you walked on the island for the first time to now, I mean, are you guys close? I mean, how is that I know a lot of Survivor super fans, they see, Jeff and they're like, he's like there since day one.
Yeah. Jeff Probst is like an icon. And the first time I met him and the first time I played out on the island, every time Jeff comes out, you're kind of like starstruck a little bit. Every time. And so he's asking you questions and you're like, oh. And then after I played, I got to do a whole season of the On Fire podcast, which is the official Survivor podcast, with Jeff. So we got to be friends to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And I even remember asking him, like, does doing this podcast mean I can't play again? And he was like, no, what are you going to learn from this podcast? I'm not a player. I'm not going to give you any tips. I'm like, okay. So for 50, it was really fun because I'm like, oh, I know Jeff a little bit. Like, I'm more comfortable with him. But then you look around and everybody does. Like, everyone's more comfortable with Jeff.
Yeah.
So it was a really fun to watch the whole different dynamic because everyone's giving Jeff crap. And Jeff has given us a lot harder of a time than he did on my first season. So he was having more fun than any of us, I think, on 50.
So I guess, you've already filmed it, but what would you say, without spoiling anything, what would you say was the worst season? Was it the previous one or Survivor 50? I know a lot of older Survivor players say that the older seasons were harder. I don't know if you kind of feel that way. What do you think?
It's interesting. I'm going to answer as best I can.
Yeah.
So the first time
exactly.
The first time I played, it was 39 days, and I made it all the way to day 38, and it was real rough. So going into 50, I know that the seasons now are just 26 days, but they try to make it harder. Like, you don't have any food at the beginning, you don't have any of these things. So that's something I was real curious about, comparing the two. And I'm excited to talk about it when the season's over, because right now I can't really talk about it because no one knows how far I got, But definitely, it was something I was curious to see, like, how can they make it harder? Because it was pretty rough the first time.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to tie this back a little bit to Macon, especially for the news package portion of this, is how has your life changed since being on Survivor? I imagine you were probably pretty well known locally before then, but now you're kind of just known all over the place. Has it changed at all, your life since you first played on Survivor?
It has. It's been so much fun. Like, Survivor's the gift that keeps on giving. It's like, yes, I got to be on the podcast with Jeff, which was awesome, and there's different, like, national things I've gotten to do, which have been fun. But here locally, it's also really cool because now I can just kind of, in the right crowd, show up, and it's a good thing. Like, when I first got back, Houston County Sharks, their wheelchair sports franchise is something that I really like to help with even before I went out. But coming back, it's like I'd be on the team, and people were coming out more because of Survivor, so they raise a little bit more money. I remember I auctioned off my sweater for All About Animals here in town, the sweater that I wore on season 38. So I was able to help some of these different organizations that I'd met in town, but now just because of the platform I had, it's like the help I'm giving is bigger. So I got to do a watch party recently at Carlisle Place, and it's like all the retirees, assisted living folks, they're so excited to see me. It's like they wouldn't have been that excited before. I've gotten invited to my kids' school, and I'm going out to a school in Warner Robins soon, and it's like just because of that platform I had, now I can go and do these things I would love to do anyway, but they're actually excited to see me. So that's been very cool.
Well, I guess kind of getting into like the easier, more, I guess, rapid fire questions for all of this. So, there's a lot of people, both in the newsroom and just people who watch, who I've talked to, who are interested in like, I didn't know if you can kind of touch on it, but what are some things that, don't make the cut? Is there a lot of stuff that doesn't make the cut of the actual thing that airs on the TV? I mean, is there anything crazy so far this season, or maybe a funny moment that might not have made the cut that you can think of?
Yeah, there's all types of stuff that doesn't make the cut because they are filming 24/7. All the time when you're out there, and then they have to whittle it down to an hour and a half plus commercials, So there's things that if they don't fit into kind of the narrative they need to tell, even though they're great, they end up on the cutting room floor. One thing I've been checking in with people who get a preview of the show, like, reporters and stuff, I'm like, do they show Jonathan killing the chickens? Because I need to warn my kids about the chickens, stuff like that. And then, of course, everybody thinks that everything they do strategically, funnily, it's like, oh, that's got to be on the show. It was so funny when Christian and I went in the middle of the night and did this. It's like, well, it wasn't funny enough to be funnier than what Coach and Ozzy were doing over here. Right. So there's a lot of things where I remember getting that advice from a former player of like, remember the experience you have. Write it all down before you see the TV show, because once you see the TV show, that's going to become your reality. There's just all those little moments of goofing around camp. No TVs, no nothing, nowhere to escape these people. So all day you're just sitting there chit-chatting, and some of those conversations with these characters are outrageous.
I can't even imagine what's talked about out there. Well, because you were mentioning cameras follow you around all the time. A lot of people I know want to know what the bathroom situation is like there. How is that like? If you got to take a number 2 or something, do the cameras follow you? I mean, do you get some privacy out there?
I feel like it's so funny because for astronauts and Survivor players, that's always the first question is like, what happens when you need to use the bathroom? So there's a code word, which is Coconut Grove. If you say, I have to go to Coconut Grove, that means I'm going to the bathroom, don't follow me. And the cameras respect that. They're not going to follow you. But the second they catch you either hunting for an idol or meeting with someone secretly, no more privacy. Then they're going to follow you everywhere because you blew it. You blew their trust. But and then, well, you didn't ask me how it goes, so we'll just leave it at that. So you can get privacy for using the bathroom, but that's about it.
So you want to make sure you follow the rules if you want privacy.
Absolutely. Those are the only people you have to be honest with as production. You can lie to everybody else,
right.
But once you lie to production, you're going to get your hand slapped.
Well, I was watching, and be careful with what you say. I don't want you to get in trouble, but I'm curious to know what was the feeling on the inside during that tribal council where you planted the fake community idol? I mean, that had to be scary. I know my heart would be racing. How were you feeling in that moment?
When we decided we were going to plant the hidden immunity idol at tribal, it's a big swing because one person sees it and it could blow up my whole game. So I was freaking out a little bit. This is a risk. But I just knew I wanted to go out there and play a fearless game and have fun, and that was the most fun thing I could think of at the time, was pulling a heist with my partner in crime, Christian Hubicki. So I was very nervous, but I was determined, and when I pulled it off, I was so excited. They see me smiling, and a lot of people thought I was smiling at the camera. I was smiling right at Jeff Probst because he saw the whole thing. I was just looking at him going, did you see what we just did?
I was going to ask, did he understand in the moment what was happening? I mean, obviously he can't say anything, but...
I don't know if he knew what happened. I don't know if Jeff knew what was going on when he watched us plant the idol, but he's such a pro that just total straight face. Even when I gave him the smile at the end, he's just looking at me with that straight face. But inside, I was doing cartwheels. I was so excited.
Well... what's back to the rapid fire questions. What's the grossest thing you've had to eat out there? Because I know there's a lot of people who have eaten crazy things. Also, I'm sure production probably warns you about things to eat, right?
There is like a little booklet you can look at before the game to kind of see just what's like poisonous, what's endangered. There's some things you can't kill out there. But I luckily didn't eat anything too gross on season 38. On 38, we never had to do a gross eating challenge. That's where things get real bad. Yeah. And I had body fat to burn, so I wasn't going to eat a worm or bugs or anything. I'm like, I'm good. So really just like rotten papaya, rotten banana. It's like literally it should have been thrown away 2 days ago, but it's still there. So it's like, all right, I'll have a little bit of it.
Gotta have some. On that note, too, what is the... Because a lot of people go on there and then leave almost looking like a completely different person. Yeah. You mentioned weight loss. So did you lose a lot of weight in the first season that you were there?
Yeah, the first time I played, I was out there 38 days and I lost 31 pounds.
Wow.
And we had a loved one visit that season. So my wife flew out to Fiji and surprises us in the middle of a challenge, and she was just shocked because I was a reporter. I was clean shaved just like you, and I was rotund going out, and all of a sudden I'm this skinny dude with a beard, and she's just like, who is this man that smells like campfire and BO? But it's rough out there for sure.
Is there anybody, obviously I'm sure Christian was probably a close person. Is there anybody else on the cast, and you can say Christian too if you want to, but maybe some of I don't want to single anybody out, but who are some fun people, or maybe some unexpectedly fun people that you got to play with on this season?
Yeah, so Survivor always surprises you, and I knew going into the game, Suri, such a huge threat. Don't want to play with Suri. Emily, total wild card. Don't want to play with Emily. Yeah. And then literally my first day on the beach, I'm talking with Suri, I'm talking with Emily, and it's like, these people are great. Like, I absolutely want to play with these two people. Christian Hubicki, someone I did want to play with going in. And so when I met him, it was like, wow, he's everything I thought he was. Yeah. Brilliant, fun. And he wants to play with me. So that's the biggest thing. Do they want to play with me? So I'm always surprised by the people you meet out there. And there's some people who even out there you get a bad impression from at the get-go. But then as you play with them and start to know who they are and where they're coming from, it's like, oh, I misinterpreted things. Yeah. And they grow on you. Season 1, Aurora and I were at each other the whole time. Yeah. Gavin and I never worked together. And Gavin and I are best friends now, like literally my best friend. And Aurora, I learned to have a huge respect for, even though I would never work with her in the game. So it's a really neat place to get to know people. And you get to know people so deeply and so quickly because there are no distractions, no TV. You're living together all the time. You're counting on each other for food and comfort and emotional support. Yeah. So it's an experience that you really can't get anywhere else.
For people watching, I guess maybe what's something that they, I guess, don't see that is like a huge challenge out there. And honestly too, I think a lot of people mentally change right after the show. They kind of have like a new outlook on things, or maybe just, it's a certain thing that they carry over into their personal life. What is one of those things that maybe you carried over into your everyday life after 38? Did anything change? Is there any sort of mental changes when you get back home?
Yeah, I would say I'll get that. I'd say some things that just don't translate to TV are every night when you're sleeping on the bamboo or just in the dirt or when it starts to rain and you have no idea when it's going to stop.
Yeah.
You have no radars. You don't have Ben Jones rolling up his sleeves. Like, you could be out there for hours. It's just so taxing physically. Whereas in the show, it's like 30 seconds. You see us wake up wet and you're like, oh, they had a rough night. It's like, no, it was the worst night of our entire lives. And then there are other things, like I certainly came back from season 38 with just a whole new appreciation for my family. Everyone, of course, loves and appreciates their family. It's the number one thing. But when you're out on the island and you don't have TV and you don't have video games and you don't have food and you're not missing those things, you're just missing like my son Jack, my daughter Juju, my wife Becca, like what's happening with them? Are they okay? And you have all the time in the world to think about that. Anytime you're not thinking about blindsiding someone, you're thinking about like what's going on with my family. Are they all right? Do they miss me? Do they miss me too much? So coming back home and being able to wrap your arms around them, and it just made me want to be a better dad, better husband, and it. I think I have been since I've gotten back. Like, I just realized how important that time is. So even though I was away for 7 weeks, no contact, which was so rough, it's almost like an investment that has now grown and is paying dividends, and it's been great for us.
Well, I appreciate it, Rick. That's all the questions I have.
That's awesome, man. Easy peasy.
And good luck to you. I know the season is already filmed, but we're rooting for you back here.
I appreciate that.